Did you ever think about how absolutely upside down this world is? We live in a world with 47 million millionaires and more than 2,000 billionaires, yet we can't see fit to fixing world hunger for $75 billion. In my opinion, it's even worse that we live in a world where big truths cannot be openly discussed, and the only hope of getting the word out is through a movie peddled as fantasy or a YouTube channel fighting the label conspiracy theory. Here are a few of the memes to watch in the near future. Yes, skyrocks happen and are expected in the fall of next year. Yes, the poles move and America is not the best place right now to raise children. Yes, there is another world coming. Yes, the lights are about to go out. Your prophets wrote all about it. Your ancestors painted it on cave walls, carved it in stone, printed it on coins, and we missed it. Convinced our world would be like that of our grandparents. And yet the land you fondly remember growing up, well, it's all over but the shouting. Elon Musk offered to help make a dent in world hunger if the UN could show him how he could do some good. And they produced for him a high-impact investment plan. If he wants to help, let's see what he does. Obviously, it will take a lot of billionaires matching him to fix this place. You see, one thing it would require is education for girls, and that's against somebody's religion. Better infant care, fixing diseases globally instead of protecting just the West, which, by the way, is headed down the tubes. For a good idea on where to start, take a look at The Skeptical Environmentalist by Bjorn Lomborg. He basically suggests all our histrionics for decades about fixing global warming has been a lot of hot air. This civilization has more basic needs. He says we've made progress, but we've a long way to go at making this a better place. The other day I got to looking at the pages of tables of fine print from Deagle.com country projections for 2025. I'm not sure they still post the data in any form you can try to decipher for implications about our world, but between 2014 and 2017 they were telling arms dealers where trillions of dollars could be had and where millions of people would be living in the future. Given the dismal numbers they assigned the United States and the cheery numbers they were giving Russia and China, I decided to apply their numeric values to a map of the world to get an idea what the smart guys know that your newspaper of record will treat as a top secret until after it happens. You know, like NASA talking about incoming bolides and asteroids. Now, I don't claim to have aggregated the numbers in the best possible way, but you can see my interpretation over there on the left. And this is how they said the world is projected to shake out in the next 4 years. My initial impression was that the poles are about to move and simultaneously overwhelm North America and Australia, but maybe that's not it. What's your theory? Turns out the Canada-US frontier is not the antipode of Australia. And if you play around with Google Earth to see what might be, you end up with an island in the middle of the ocean, just where Plato said we would one day discover Atlantis. What I figure is that the coming pole shift is either on an Ahau schedule or a Ram schedule, a fifth of a precession or a quarter precession. And the million-dollar question is, does the pole now move to Iceland or southwest Alaska? Does the cycle make a star shape or a huge hourglass? And does the planet flip over completely as part of that shift when it's time for the beast to replace the dragon of Revelation 13? 19th century naturalists said one day the oceans would flow north. And I've seen prophecy raising the sea level here by 131 feet. So is that what happens when dragon and beast trade places north and south, like Inanna and Dumuzi taking turns in the underworld? Well, let's get back to fantasies possibly more honest than the day's headlines. Look, for example, at Melancholia by Lars von Trier and starring Kirsten Dunst. We know there's something terribly wrong a minute and 15 seconds into the flick. The poor sundial at the mansion is trying to show a time when the lights in the heavens are 3 hours apart, which sounds a lot like the three-house event the ancients expected for the beginning of the apocalypse. The purest alignment I see for a three-house event is in mid to late February. I'm wondering if that's what the rapper Juice WRLD was talking about when he said, "We ain't making it past 21. Well, not very far past it anyway. The moment of terror, bull of heaven flying this way with our red star at the opposite end of heaven, both lined up with a Jupiter-Venus conjunction, would come shortly after the spring equinox at about April 30th. It probably involves a shift of the poles and seasons. Von Trier has first apogee of our Dark Lord nemesis, the movie calls Melancholia, and the ancients called Zu, or Tiamat, headed our direction on the 1st of May, and the first alignment with us, May 5th. I found it a bit scary, his date coming within a week of mine. The movie maker wants you even more concerned about a second pass, 5 days, months, or years later, his chart doesn't exactly say, treating the second pass as some kind of crazy three-body problem in physics. My read on the signs is that if the dark one was doing a figure 8 and the red star maintained its center on both sides, the trajectories of both could be stable. And his prediction is that Melancholia Wormwood is our planet killer. One of the subliminals in the movie is a geometric design we've seen before, showing a relationship between the little visiting sun god and his moon god slithering across the sky, or between Aries and a new star headed this way, or showing the polar orbit of the dragon is carrying a small bright object spiraling in tow. It clearly has something to do with the ones we called God and his devil as analogs of Saturn and Jupiter, or Aquarius and Orion, and with something truly rare we are about to observe firsthand. If it doesn't involve apocalypse and creation, I'll be the most shocked guy on the planet. First point of Aries arrives Aquarius. New age, revelation. If you're not excited or scared, maybe you should be. They even chemtrail here late in the evening now, so they really don't want us seeing what's up there. Speaking of which, did anyone see the lunar eclipse yesterday morning? They said it looked like the pink thing there on the left, but what I saw was closer to the diamond ring solar eclipse of 2019. There at the southern end, it looked as if there was a tiny sparkling ruby on one end of the moon, or like someone had lit a campfire on the rim. I saw it about 1:15 in the morning, but they say it lasted for hours. Christians have been saying for years that solar eclipses in 2017 and 2024 would bracket our judgment of the American Babylon, that it would take millions of people repenting for God not to strike this place down in the trouble to come. Well, read Revelation 12 and try to figure out what it means for you and yours. I don't find it particularly promising. If you grew up in one religion and would like to compare it to another, try looking at the prophets and then the Kolbrin. Look, for instance, at the chapter Sons of Fire. Contrast what Jews were saying about a passage of the Old Testament compared with a Christian commentary. Like, look at Isaiah 53 or Psalm 91. As you know, one of my favorite authors is David Gemmell. If I didn't know better, I could say he was just writing fantasy or science fiction. Truth is, he was trying to provide hints of something that predated St. Patrick, a time when Celtic spirituality and cultic Christianity were nearly identical, like a time of the Vedic Slavs predating Roman soldiers and Byzantine priests. A world before everyone was slaving away for a Catholic Pope, a British Queen, and a coven of Jewish bankers. Check out the Shona stone from Zimbabwe. Remember when Jesus talked about a gimel threading a needle? Sumer characterized Tiamat as a camel, and the Ohuelans marked the dark one with a gimel, the one doing figure eights across the sky. In Melancholia, the little boy says, "It's a planet that's been hiding behind the sun, and now it passes by us." I get the feeling there's a lot of pent-up animosity out there, that all that's needed is the right crisis, and we're just going to unleash hell. My continued hope is that the government will begin discussing this stuff publicly instead of leaving us to flounder in diametrically opposed ideologies, mysterious ancient references, and the self-serving antics of Washington politicians manipulated by Lucifer. We're badly in need of a peacemaker. Please let me know if you spot one. Shema bless you and keep you. Take care.